Hello and happy Friday, or whenever you're watching this, I guess, because these don't always, well, they do come out on Fridays. We also record them on Fridays. It's Todd and Hudson with Todd's Tips. So usually if you're new to this channel, or if you've been here, you know, well, I'll start that over, because if you're new, you don't know what's going on. So anyway, if you're new, these are our Todd's Tips. Dad has been in voiceover for over 14 years, and he's done pretty well for himself. He's eclipsed six figures 8 years in a row. Mm-hmm. And 7 years in a row, you've made $200,000 plus. Mm-hmm. So he might have something that he can offer you. So maybe just if you're getting into voiceover, or if you've been in voiceover, just give him your ear, because he knows a thing or two about how to be successful, at least. So that's what I'm doing. He's helping me out with my business, and I will be 3 years old in voiceover in April of next year. So we're coming up on 3 full years. And so that's been kind of what he's been doing, is giving tips and helping me out with my business as I grow. So anyway, give him your attention, and I will give it to you and stop talking.
Todd's Tips is the name of these videos, but we have been focusing on some do's and don'ts in your voiceover business. Do's and don'ts in your voiceover business. And one of the reasons that Hudson provides the numbers that I've made financially is because that's a way for you to vet me as a person that talks to you about voiceover. And if you look at some of the rest of our videos, you'll see that every single week we provide people with our specific numbers for that week. One, for that reason, to be transparent, and two, to follow Hudson's growth as a voiceover talent. And so we provide those numbers for the purpose of you giving me a good ear. Just give us a listen. That's all I'm saying. Just don't get emotional for some of the things that I say. Some of the things I say, I don't say for clickbait. I don't say it to be controversial. It's just what I've learned. And then we also provide these caveats for you to be able to look at and evaluate and be able to just take a step back calmly and put your hand to your chin and say, okay, Todd is different than I am. How much different? I don't know. Everybody's different. Everybody's unique. And so maybe your situation isn't exactly like mine. That's why we provide those caveats, so that you can take a step back and you can apply these principles to your voiceover business. So with that preface out of the way, let me talk about the do of my do's and don'ts this week. I do think that the VO industry as a whole needs a thorough health checkup. The VO industry is sick, in my opinion. It needs a checkup. I'm 63 years old, and every year after year and a half, I go in and I have a checkup. Not so much fun anymore. A physical checkup. These physicals aren't at all like they were when I was in sports in high school and college, when I would go there and it was basically a drive-through, wiggle your neck a little bit, ask you if things are okay. Yep, looks good,
Send
healthy.
you out the door.
Sign the card, you're out the door. Yep. Those were drive-through physicals, mere formalities. Now, the doctor's face is serious. He says, you're going to have to close the door behind you, and we're going to get down and get busy here. And there's poking and pushing and prodding and grabbing and lots of questioning, lots of questions inside and out of your body. And there's blood tests and stress tests and colonoscopies and all sorts of stuff. If you're over 40, you know that's when all of that begins. And if you're younger than that, that's what you've got to look forward to. Yeah. Well, the VO industry needs that kind of a health checkup. That's my opinion. They're in their 60s and 70s and 80s. And I think we've done things for long enough, and they haven't worked. Things aren't going well, in my humble opinion. The state of VO industry, as highlighted in a few key statistics, you don't have to go very far, and everybody cites these, but nobody changes what they're doing. It's clear evidence that how we're doing things simply is not working, and we need to stop the insanity. For instance, SAG-AFTRA, as far as I know, is still on strike. They report that 80% of union members don't make $27,000 per year, enough to qualify for health insurance. That's baffling to me. NAVA, National Association of Voice Actors, thankfully put out their report. I'm so thankful for their report that they have. It's just so good to hear. They reported that 76% actually, of voice actors make $40,000 or less per year. Just let that sink in for a second. Let it just stop for just a second. Let's not go on. Let's stop for just a second and say who can survive on $40,000 a year anymore?
Because I live at home.
Yeah, that's not the point. If you want to have a home or you want to rent someplace, you want to have a car, you want to go out to eat once in a while, you got to have bills, you got to pay taxes. $40,000 is not a lot of money anymore. But 76% of the voice actors are living on less than that, making less than that. Yet we keep coaching, we keep conferencing, we keep blogging and vlogging, we keep putting out courses and content that emphasize the same exact things or blame the same people for the industry. It's always somebody else's fault. I was just recently listening to a couple of coaches, actually 3 coaches, and pretty well-known coaches. And they were talking about how they were answering the question, what would you do for people just starting out? And one of them talked about, immerse yourself in acting coaching and getting coaching and improv and all of these different things. And another one said, well, I'd work on reading out loud and tongue twisters and vocal exercises. And it's like, but that's what we emphasize all of the time. I'm writing a book. I'm still in the process of writing a book. It's called The 7 Building Blocks of Voiceover Success. Damon, put that up here if you will, please. And you can see the building blocks. It starts out, first of all, who am I going to listen to? That's the first obedience. That's the first thing. Yeah, that's the first thing. You got to decide what career path you're going to take, who you're going to listen to. Second is mindsets. What kind of mindsets do you have? And you have to have the right kind of mindsets. Otherwise, you're not going to make it. Third is business, and that's the biggest mindset, thinking of your voiceover career as a business. Fourth is processes, having simple processes that work and work those processes. Then you have marketing at the next level, audio, having a pristine audio, a place to record and good equipment. Lastly, performance and craft. Yet that's what, when I look at Facebook groups that I'm in or that I watch regularly or I pay attention to, I hear about the conferences, read about what they're going to present and who the presenters are, the vlogs and videos and blogs and podcasts, all of them basically focus on the top 3, especially the top 1, but the top 3. Now, some talk about processes, to be fair, and a lot mention business. You got to run it like a business, and they'll talk about what that means. Some pay lip service to mindsets. Hey, it's a mental game, it's a psychology, but that's all it is. It's just words. Few coaches do much to help their students with the mindsets, which is the foundation for everything. That's why I think we're sick, because we've got things flipped upside down. We're focusing so much on the craft and on the audio and even on the marketing that we don't stay in the game. We're not tough enough. We don't know what to expect. It's a mindset thing. Why? And I'll finish up here quickly. Why? Well, I think the reason that mindsets are way, way down and craft is way up is, one, you have to have the right mindsets yourself first as a VO person. You've got to have those first. And my sneaking suspicion is that a lot of the people that are coaching these things are in that $40,000 per year or less in what they make for voiceover alone. Second, the top tier, especially the top several, are what sells. Third, this is just plain get down and get dirty work that's sometimes discouraging, talking about mindsets and business. It's not glamorous, which is another one, number 5 I'll skip to. It's not as glitzy and glamorous as the top 4 tiers. And going back to number 4, Working with students on mindsets is hard to scale, so it's not much of a moneymaker.
I would say that working on craft is a little bit harder to scale too. Correct? I mean, you get better as you go, but as a coach, you could say, you just got a little bit more, keep paying me because I got a little bit more.
Well, I don't think it's hard to scale.
Oh, scale.
I think it's hard to.
I see what you're saying.
To quantify.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to say objectively, you have gotten better. You will make this amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
There's always an out. Well, you got to work on this. You got to do this. You can always have people keep coming back for more and switching coaches and doing all sorts of like that. Does that make sense?
That's what, yeah. And you said scale, and I didn't. My apologies.
Yeah. So those 5 things, I kind of went out of order there, but hopefully you know what I'm saying. The VO industry is just limping along. If you think about it, we talk about how wonderful it is and how great it is, but 76% make $40,000 or a year or less. To me, that's limping along. VO talent, those are the ones limping along. Well-meaning VO coaches are raking in the dough. All the while, most talent are on life support. I think the VO industry is sick. Whose fault is it? I have my opinion. You might have your opinion. It might be Fiverr. It might be Upwork. It might be the pay-to-plays and David Cicerelli and all the people that we can demonize. I wonder if it's just that we're in an echo chamber and we keep saying, I'll be on your podcast and I'll be on your podcast and I'll say what you want to hear and you can tell me how great I am. All the while, so many people are making $40,000 a year or less. It's just, to me, it's wild.
Yeah, and I think you said something that was, to me, was important as you were talking about the SAG-AFTRA actors and stuff like that. Actresses and actors are striking right now. And a lot of people like you said, to blame other things on why they're not doing well.
Yes.
It's not so much that you're not getting paid fairly. It's maybe because you're not doing the right work to get paid. Is that you're not working fairly for the right wages. Does that make sense? You're not putting in enough work to get paid that. You want to, cry and whatever it is about things, and you've got to put in the work more.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's just this isn't just like do this and do that. There's not a secret sauce to this. I just think that generally speaking, the voiceover industry is sick, and we need to do some real self-reflection, some thinking about it rather than turning it around on everybody else. I'm sure there are greedy corporate people out there. Do I love voices.com? Of course not. Do I think Fiverr is the greatest thing since sliced bread? No. If you know me,
yes.
You know that's not true. And so Netflix and all these different people, I don't even know all the stuff about the SAG-AFTRA, but I'm sure there are people that are taking advantage, AI and all these things, and I'm thankful for people talking about those. Don't get me wrong. I'm on a little bit of a soapbox, as you probably know, about the fact that as I've been in the voiceover business for 14 years now and had measurable success and share that success with you, I just think there's a problem. And I think it's up to us to try to figure it out. And right now, I think we're a dog chasing its tail.
As a voiceover community, we have a problem. And we are the problem.
Exactly. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Anyway, thank you for listening to that, and thanks for bringing that. It's always, at least for me, it's nice to hear those things because then it's like I got to get busy. So anyway, if you want to see more videos like that, you can check them out in the Todd's Tips folder that we have on our, our Todd's Tips playlist that we have on our YouTube channel. Up next, we have our numbers. So if you want to check those out, Johnny from VOMP will be on the spot over here on the couch. Dad and I will talk about our numbers. Pretty good weeks this week from us, and you can hear how that went. If you ever have any questions, feel free to ask them below in the comments section. Email me at hudsonbarsness@yahoo.com, no capital letters or spaces, and we'll take care of those questions for you as best we can. So thanks again, and we'll see you later. Did you like that video? Check out more from the original Father-Son Voiceover podcast right over here, or subscribe to our channel right here.